Week before Night of Champions, I look at this show and I feel like, damn, there are people here that have been jobbed out and have been buried. Was it still a good show? Yes. I enjoyed seeing Sting. I did enjoy seeing Sting. I enjoyed seeing the wonderful team of Christian and Edge. But when I look at this show, I saw a lot of people jobbed out. Let's get to this show. The first thing I'm going to talk about, which I would normally leave for the end, but I have to do this now, that is Paige versus Sasha. I really wanted to leave this for the end, but I felt like it would be better to do this now because I want to focus on what happened with Sting and what happened with Seth Rollins. And when we look at this, and I am doing a debate of the week on them. I'm doing a debate of the week on bad. I see Sasha, I see Tamina, and I see my sweet Naomi, a plot device to get Paige over, either to get her sympathy, so if, and there's a good chance that Charlotte will lose against Nikki Bella, or you're going to have Paige do a heel turn and turn on a Charlotte. Sasha was not the key here, even though they put on a great match. Sasha didn't mean anything. Naomi doing what she did means nothing. Even though Sasha won the match, this was all about Paige and how disappointed she was that she could not get the match against Nikki Bella. And when you move on to the next segment in the night, when you see the Bellatron, oh, I'm glad when they take that off the screen. If they continue doing it and start counting up past the time she beats AJ Lee, I will be thoroughly pissed. But you know what? I may not put that past the WWE, that they want to rub it into every fan of AJ Lee and CM Punk, mind you, because that is his wife. They're rubbing it into their faces, saying that this is what your boy and your girl get for turning against us. If they actually kept the Bellatron going beyond beating and matching the AJ Lee reign. But I see this, the segment for Nikki Bella wasn't good. The segment for Charlotte was not bad. But when you look at Paige, they zoomed in on Paige way more than they zoomed in on Charlotte. I could be wrong, but that's how I'm perceiving this. This really feels more about Paige getting over more than Charlotte or Becky Lynch. And I'll be surprised if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, fine. I'll eat crow. I'm fine with it. But that's how I feel. Next, the Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns versus the Ascension. Oh my gosh. Does anybody remember the Ascension? Do you remember Victor? Do you remember anything about his partner? You remember Connor? To be honest, I had to think hard about their names because I forgot their asses, because they were brought in real strong, even though they were biting off the little run they were trying to bite off the Road Warriors. And a lot of people were not happy with them, but they could have been put over. They could have been put over well. These guys are buried and they're covered over by dirt and no one even cares about them. They just feel like an afterthought. Sorry, Paul. And I knew you had some really good thoughts in those guys. You really put a lot of effort into them. And Vince basically buried them. And that reminds me of the segment between Paul, Triple H, Seth Rollins, and the lovely, fake boobed Stephanie McMahon. Was it a good segment to try and get Seth Rollins over? Not completely. Because it would have been better for him not to be looking for Triple H. I wanted to see Seth to be tough. And I'll say this, taking away from the segment I'm talking about, the opening of the show for Seth was very long and lengthy. It was only better before we had Sheamus came in, when he actually showed some balls. And when this segment came in, between all three of them, it just seemed to drop a little bit, because the more that he keeps trying to get Triple H to save his ass, the more he seems not even credible. And throughout the night, that kind of played into most of what was going on. When Seth Rollins versus the Ryback, Seth did a good match. Seth did well until Sting messed with him and he got caught in a roll-up. A very sloppy roll-up, to be honest. I'm sorry. I love me the Ryback. Ryback is a great character, but he literally he telegraphed it. Really, he did. But that just made Seth look more like a bitch. Now, another thing that just felt like, why? What's the point? Empty. Sheamus versus Randy Orton. Now, the only reason I'm saying this is because of the feud they're having. Not about what's going on with Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and Wyatt. I'm only going about what's going first. And that scene that Randy Orton and Sheamus is boring. Like I always said, if they put the Money in the Bank briefcase on the line between Sheamus and Randy Orton and built up to it, we would care. I didn't give a fuck. No matter how many times they do this match, or the same kind of match, mind you, it just doesn't make me interested. Do I believe they're both bad talents in the ring? No, they're not. But you've been sticking them together for so long, I just don't give a damn. And I didn't expect Orton to lose, and Orton won here. That made the Money in the Bank recipient in the very beginning of the show and the Sheamus look like a bitch. Because Sheamus is saying, I'm going to get you, Seth Rollins. And here, the guy he's dealing with the most, he can't even beat him. So how do you think he's going to actually cash in his Money in the Bank? But then we get the attack from the Wyatts, and that was Braun Strowman. I'm sorry. I'm bad with names. Do I care about seeing the new Wyatt? No. Hearing that now we have Bray Wyatt, the new face of fear. We got Luke Harper, the new face of desolation. And now Braun Strowman, who is what? The new Apocalypse, or the new member of Destruction? Do I care? No! I'm not against Braun Strowman, if I'm pronouncing his name right. It's just that we want to see Bray Wyatt somewhere else. And if people are still doing this little bit, turning on their cell phones, I'm sorry, it just gets me angry and I'm botching. Look, hashtag, stop cheering for Bray. Stop cheering for him. Don't care about him. You know why? Maybe the WWE will realize that they need to do something different with him, because he's doing the same thing and I hate it. Here's another thing that upset me. That bitched somebody out and buried them. Cesaro versus The Miz. Good match. Does it matter? No! Because this is all about The Miz and Big Show now. And Cesaro has just been bitched out. He didn't win the match. It was a double countout. And then you get the Big Show knocking his ass out. Why? A guy that people naturally want to cheer. That people love now. And they just bitched him out. You actually thought of calling this the Bitch Show, but I didn't want to do that. I'm calling it what you're going to see below. But it really looks like that, you know? Then we have Los Matadores versus the Dudleys. Now, this segment, and maybe near the middle of the night, between seeing Edge and Christian, seeing the New Day, seeing Seth Rollins, was actually really damn funny. When it came to the Dudleys doing that get the tables bit, it kind of felt a little stale. I'm sorry. It just did a little bit in that segment. But what they did against Los Matadores was a good match. And now, is El Torito going to join them? Is he going to come out of the suit? Because Primo and Epico are kind of pissed at their little bull. And they smacked the shit out of him twice. So, I don't know what's going on. Is Los Matadores finally getting rid of their mascot? Is the mascot going with the Dudleys? Are they doing something from Dudleyville? I don't know. I don't really know. Oh, and I almost forgot. Something I don't want to think about. And I wish I did. Summer Rae with Rusev and Dolph Ziggler. Oh my God. When did this end up like this? That they're trying to... What here? You had Lana go off to be with Dolph Ziggler. Then you had Rusev go off with Summer Rae. Then you have this stupid segment where Summer Rae goes into Dolph Ziggler's room, and then supposedly now he's cheating on Lana, who now fell for the bait, is pissed off at everybody and walks away. But then you're going to try and get Lana back with Rusev. Now, of course, you can say, well, of course he's going to try and do that. That's his chance to get it back. But really? This would have been better if Summer Rae just had her match against Lana. And then the guys were in the corners. This doesn't work for me. It's not the point it doesn't make sense. It does to a certain extent make some sense. Rusev is trying to fuck over Dolph and trying to get Lana back so we can have a threesome. Rusev, Lana and Summer Rae. It makes sense to most men. Me, I'm a one-woman guy. I don't like doing that kind of stuff. But it makes some sense. But let's be honest here. The person that should be trying to get over the most isn't Rusev. It's not Summer. It's not Lana. It's supposed to be Dolph. People want to see Dolph over. We're not getting that shit. This is just stupid. This is not helping Dolph at all. It's bullshit. And oh, you guys tell me below. Do you actually believe that they're going to do the feud between Ryback and Kevin Owens properly? Because when you see this, and you see Kevin Owens dealing with a Ryback, you think on paper it's going to be good. To be honest, they're not going to do anything good with Kevin Owens. I do not see anything good for him. Even if he wins the title, I don't see anything good. Honestly. But we still got a lot of time before Night of Champions and the next stages in this year. You never know, I could be 100% wrong. Finally, I'm going to say this about Sting and Seth Rollins. When it came to the 6-man tag, it was a standard tag. We don't really care about it. And it was Kofi who jobbed to John Cena. You know, I said when John first got the U.S. Championship that one of the people he could go up against is Kofi Kingston. I actually would have liked to see Kofi go up against John in the main event, just to see if he can hang there. And I was kind of hoping, since we're never going to get that, could he get a chance to go up against John for the U.S. Championship in the Open Challenge. I know that just doesn't look good for Kofi because it's just another guy to get fed to John Cena, but this is not much different. And I would have liked to see a black man, a black South African. I believe he's from South Africa. I'm sorry if I'm wrong. If he's not from South Africa, you can tell me below where Kofi comes from. But essentially speaking, I would have liked to see one day Kofi Kingston go up against John Cena for a title. A real valid title. And this is the closest I got. But this didn't even matter about him and didn't matter about John. This mattered about Sting getting over 100%, and we saw him throughout the night. And I'm going to tell you this. His segments were done very well. Seeing him with the bronze statue of Seth Rollins was actually good. I enjoyed it. Seeing that he shoved that sucker straight into a crusher in the back of a sanitation truck was actually very good. And him riding away with it. Was it great television? No, it was good television. But then it makes me think this. And I actually thought this last night when I saw Raw, before I even saw the statue get crushed. Seth Rollins is getting badly bitched out here. He got bitched out by John Cena. He got bitched out to basically Sting. He got bitched out to Stephanie. Well, Stephanie didn't get a chance to say anything, but if she had, she would have bitched him out. And Triple H. And New Day bitched him out. Basically not listening to him at all. Then he got bitched out by Edge. Got bitched out a little bit by, well, You can't say Christian because we didn't speak. But basically, he got bitched out by everybody. And this doesn't give me a lot of confidence what's going to happen with Seth by Night of Champions. We all believe that he's going to job both ways. But the point of this ending of my review is wondering how far is he going to drop before Triple H and him have their final match. Will it be in this year or next year? I have this bad feeling that Seth will not really get a good payout this year at all. He is going to go, he's going to be gone. By the end of this, after he loses both titles, if he does, he's going to be gone. In fact, I'm hoping he does not win both titles. I'm hoping he just jobs and gets it over with, because if John Cena does not win, he's going to be even more bitched out than he is now. I said it before at SummerSlam, I mean it now. Seth is going to be bitched out even worse. But that's just my point of view. How about you? So I hope you enjoyed the Zane View. Please comment below. I am doing my debate of the week on Bad and what has happened to Sasha, Naomi, and Tamina. Tell me how you feel about them. Tell me if you love them, you hate them, if you think that all three of them are nothing, or all three of them are great. Tell me how you feel. Watch out for it. It should be coming out soon. Have a good day and have a good night. Peace!